A memory that has changed my life is the first time I got a scar. It's like right here. The first time I went to my elementary school, I switched, and then I was switching to another school because my parents bought a house. I was devastated because I already finished half the school year in one of the schools, and now I was going to a new school year. Not a school year, but a new school. And I had I knew no one at all. And I was kind of disappointed because I was getting to know everyone all over. I already made my friends, and now I was going to a new school where everybody had probably made their cliques, everyone knew each other, and I was so sad. So when my parents bought the house, we switched schools, me and my sister, and then when we finally got to school, I was a loner. I knew no one whatsoever. I was really sad about it. I was great, I'm the new girl and everybody knows everybody. They grew up together. So our school program has a lunch menu thing, where you go help out during lunch. Do any of you guys have that at your school? Woohoo! So I wanted to help out because I'm okay, as soon as she asked, I was first one to volunteer. I was okay, you know what, I am not going to sit alone at lunch. Shoot, I'd rather be doing that than anything else. So being the impatient person that I was, I was kind of hurrying to get there before all the 5th and 4th grades just rushed out of the cafeteria. I was okay, I'm going to beat this crowd. I don't want to stand there and wait for them. So I was speed walking over there, and then everybody came out like a herd, like this, all in one direction, and then was turning. And there's this corner right here, and everybody was just passing it by, and I was I can just sharp that corner right there and just run. So I was running, and I had no clue that there was another person running over there. So when I was running and I turned the corner, bam, I knocked heads the guy. I was on the ground, my eyes closed. I was eyes shut. I couldn't open them. I was okay, don't cry. Don't let them show that you're weak. It's probably just going to be a bruise. And then someone yelled out, she's bleeding. And then I could feel my blood just streaming out of my head. And I was okay, you can cry now. And I started crying. I was so in tears. And then someone from my class helped me up. And I was crying. I couldn't get my eyes open. That's what was terrifying me, making me cry more. Is I could not get my eyes open whatsoever. They were shut. I tried, and I couldn't. She took me to the nurse's office, and I still could not get my eyes open. I was terrified. I was what am I going to do? I can't open my eyes. The nurse, she's trying to call my mother. She's trying to get her on the phone. We could not get her number. I don't know why. She wrote her number all weird, and we could not get her number whatsoever. So she had to call me up. I had a bandage on my head. I had to get up, look down, and I could feel I feel faint because of all the blood that I lost. And I was okay, didn't lose that much blood, but I still felt faint. So when I was looking, we were trying to figure out my mom's number. We could not get her on the line. I was so scared because of that. And then finally, I remember my dad's number that. I was oh, thank goodness I remember that. Since he works in construction, I knew he would be able to pick up the phone. So I called my dad, and the nurse was telling him, okay, I don't want you to freak out now, but your daughter's going to need stitches. Next thing here is my dad going what? Just screaming what do you mean she's going to need stitches? And then he gets my mom on the phone. She takes me to the hospital, and we wait for half an hour just to get seen. I'm okay, this is kind of an emergency. We have a makeshift Band-Aid on my head, and it's still bleeding. I'm okay, what am I going to do now? So we wait for half an hour. We're finally seen. I have to lie down on a table, and they cover me up with these sheets, kind to move off the area of my head and take off the Band-Aid. The next thing I feel is this excruciating pain going into my wound. It was a shot, a needle that just went straight into my head wound. And I immediately turned my head. I was just oh my gosh. And I was what the? I literally screamed what the? And they're okay, you need a shot in there so we could numb it. And I was okay, so we had to do the process over again because I moved. So this time it didn't hurt as bad, but I could feel the needle just reaching in and going in. And I was just oh my gosh, I can't believe this is happening. After that, everything was fine. I could feel the little threads going in and out of my head, just closing it up. And after I was done, they're okay, you need to keep it covered. You need to have it covered so that way you won't leave that much of a scar. So we did the process. The following 2 weeks later, I was okay, back at school, had SpongeBob Band-Aids over my scar. And then everybody was like, oh my gosh, are you okay? Did they get that tooth out of your head? I was like, what tooth? It turned out the kid's tooth fell out when he hit me. It wasn't his head, it was his teeth that went into my head.
Oh.
So after that, everybody knew me as the girl with the tooth and head. But it kind of turned out in a good experience because a lot of people got to know me before I got to know them. So a lot of people were wanted to know the story, got to know me, and I made a lot of friends. So yeah, that's it.
Thank you.